Welcome to the Weekly Digest, where we highlight the works of ministers of government as they push the administration's development agenda. The BPPC administration has taken a decision to address the lack of skilled personnel countrywide, specifically to meet the labor demands of the nation's booming oil and gas sector. Speaking to residents at separate meetings in Pomeroon Supernam Region 2 recently, Minister of Labour Joseph Hamilton explained that it is important for the courses to be rolled out now, since the previous government did not upskill the populace in technical areas.
Region 6, early when I started this journey as minister, I went and I had a conversation with Chamber there, Upper Quarantine Chamber. And they said to me, Minister, in this region, we don't have mechanics. An agricultural region, they have dozens of pieces of equipment, combines, tractors, and all kinds of packed in people's yard. The question we as citizens we have to answer, and I'll come to Region 2 in a moment. How in a region with 2 technical institutes, they have no mechanics?
The Labour Ministry, through the Board of Industrial Training, BIT, has made significant strides to correct the issue of technical training. Minister Hamilton said Guyana has already seen significant investments in BIT, which he confidently expressed will manufacture salient technical expertise. The BIT has been allocated some $450 million in 2022. Newly commissioned DSCN Manufacturing Inc., a more than $200 million investment by Essequibo Coast businessman Suraj Jagmohan, will aid the rapid infrastructural development and transformation of Guyana. Minister of Public Works Bishop Juan Edgell and Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell on Sunday last attended the commissioning ceremony at Little Diamond. Minister Edgell explained how this company will assist in accelerating government's developmental drive.
With this technology and availability on the market, we could now have bridges for 50 years plus. Amen. That could be installed in half or less of the time that it took for normal construction. Because you can have the members prepared and assembled off-site, and in 7 to 10 days, you could have a new bridge installed.
Government is on a rapid drive to develop Guyana's transport infrastructure with the expansion of the East Coast Highway, the Ogle to Tamari Carriageway, the Schoonar to Crane Bypass Road, Purika to Goshen Road, Kurupakari to Letham Link, Linden to Mabura Hill Road, and the upgrade of the Soosdijk-Linden Highway, to name a few.
With companies like this one and investments that are being made by the private sector and the risks that are being taken by others to venture out. Of course, in an environment with a visionary government that is giving clear signals to the private sector, Guyana's future is very, very bright, and I'm confident of that. We will continue to provide the enabling environment for the buoyant development of our private sector. We will continue to create that environment that instills confidence, gives hope that people can see opportunities to invest. We don't want our capital to be moving to foreign jurisdictions. We want our capital to be invested in Guyana for the development of Guyana.
Government is also on a massive housing initiative, having already distributed more than 13,000 house lots. Minister Crowell noted that the business venture will help the supply chain in ensuring projects are completed on time.
The major projects and the rapid growth in both the public and private spending on infrastructure, real estate, other concrete incentives projects have seen, therefore, a heavy demand for even cement and other building materials. Unfortunately, that is why there's a niche here. The local market is not always able to supply the demand that is required. This plant will therefore lend critical support for these highway projects.
Pedestrians and cyclists were taken into consideration with the launch of the European Union to Guyana's reflector armbands on Tuesday. The initiative is geared towards improving the safety of pedestrians and cyclists on the roads, with a focus especially on primary and secondary school students who use the public transportation system. This initiative is aligned with Guyana's action plan to improve road safety. At a simple event held at the Kitty Roundabout, Georgetown Ambassador and Head of Delegation of the European Union to Guyana, Dr. Fernando Pons Canto, announced that 17,000 reflectors will be distributed to this cause. Minister Manik Chan expressed gratitude to the ambassador for their significant contribution to road safety. She also said the bans will help citizens become more aware of the importance of road safety.
We're deeply grateful that you have assumed your role here as an active stakeholder who is not just telling us how it should be done and telling us about Estonia and the other countries that have this as a mandatory wear, but tangibly bringing resources that can be used by us to immediately, in the short term, keep our children safe, but in the medium and long term, make more people aware of how important it is to be visible on the roadways. So the sensitivity this creates, I hope, will live on for a much longer time, way past the life of the armbands.
Minister of Home Affairs Robeson Ben urged more private stakeholders to assist in tackling road fatalities.
I am, of course, extremely happy of the insights and interventions from our partners, the European Union in this instance. I continue to call upon our national partners, those who have vested interests, such as the insurance companies, to put monies to participate in those efforts which would see us bringing about a better situation in respect of road usage.
Following the feature address, children were engaged in a skit which showcased the effectiveness and importance of the reflective ban. Government is satisfied with the new $2.5 billion ferry that will start plying the Georgetown to Northwest route, Region 1. The new vessel, MV Malaysia, is being funded by the government of India.
This in front of me is what the finished boat will look like. This is a miniature image of the ship.
Almost 19,000 job seekers have registered with the Ministry of Labor's National Job Bank website since the platform was launched on March 11, 2022. To date, 139 employers have signed on to the website, making available some 299 job opportunities.
For me, the most important thing is not so much the figures, the numbers, and the data. For me is coming out of all of this data, how many persons were employed? That's the important issue for me. And that is what we will pay some attention to, so that at any given moment, I can report that so many persons were employed via the job bank.
The Labor Ministry is currently conducting a job tracing exercise to determine the number of persons who were employed to date and is advancing its job readiness programs to ensure applicants are better equipped and aware of proper work ethics. The preparation for cultivation will soon be enhanced for farmers in Guyanese Region 7 with the procurement of 2 tillers.
I want to make a commitment that for this Region 7, we will send a team from the GLDA and NARI to do an assessment within 1 week. I will make 2 tillers available for Region 7. 2 tillers available for Region 7. So the farmers will have that to use. And we'll have a management committee to control those.
Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa. He led a technical team to the region on Wednesday where he engaged farmers at the Bartika Community Center ground. The consultation is a follow-up to President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali's recent visit to the region after a number of agriculture issues were highlighted.
We'll have about 5, I don't know if you know the bongo pump we're using. We'll have about 5 bongo pump and 1 motorized fogging machine, 1 fogging machine. That will be in the region. so that we can give the support to the farmers around the region. And we'll have community use it on a needs basis.
Farmers there will also benefit from a cushy ant bait, while the Agriculture Ministry is looking at ways to provide assistance with fertilizers. Minister Mustafa reiterated that the agriculture sector is important to Guyana. He explained that major development is ongoing in every area of the food industry, specifically with drainage and irrigation. Minister of Education Priya Manikchan has underscored the administration's monumental plans to balance the academic life of the nation's children through sports. She said if Guyana wants to produce and retain wholesome children, specifically from the devastating impact of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, studies have shown that they cannot succumb to the urge to do only academics. The minister made these statements at the launch of the 5 for Fun initiative.
We have to balance the 2 lost years with getting whole, productive children. So the recommendations and studies really are exactly what Guyana has done, even before those studies were out, really are about innovatively reforming what your academic program looks like from ministries of education to make sure that we don't have another kind of pandemic, epidemic on our hands with children who are not engaged in sport.
The Education Ministry has set its sights to produce competent children at the end of secondary school. She said they must be involved in a sport, at least know one foreign language and how to play a musical instrument, as well as partake in technical and vocational education and training studies. The minister emphasized that the 5 for Fun initiative is designed to appeal to children between 8 to 11 years and is aligned with the Education Ministry's aim to ensure the educational life of children is balanced, hence the immediate response to accommodate the program. Meanwhile, the initiative has also received full support from the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport.
I'm here, first of all, so that you know, in my capacity as Minister of Culture, Youth and Sport, to lend my voice and add my voice to support this initiative, knowing that it is targeting particularly sport in school, something that the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, advancing President Ali's vision of One Guyana and focusing on sport particularly to unite the country and advance talents of young people and the dreams of young people. And that is translated into the largest budget for sport this country has ever had.
Guyana will expend $3.2 billion on sports in 2022. Last year, government spent just over $200 million on community grounds, and this year about $250 million will be spent. Outstanding academic achievers in Georgetown were rewarded for their excellent performance in 2021. Minister Manikchan spearheaded the prize-giving ceremony at the National Cultural Center on Wednesday.
To the batch of NGSA students, CSEC students, CAPE students of 2021, this was a very special batch, and I don't believe any other batch of students will experience what you experienced and yet conquered not only locally but internationally.
The regional award ceremony was held to highlight and promote exceptional academic performance and honor teachers and staff who have retired in 2021. Meanwhile, Guyanese students will start receiving $30,000 at the end of July to purchase much-needed school supplies and uniforms. This sum is for the school uniforms and supplies grant and the Because We Care initiative reintroduced by government. Every child in primary schools will receive textbooks for the different subject areas, while every student from grades 7 to 13 will get mathematics, English, and literature textbooks. 7 project-affected residents of Sophia are undergoing capacity-building training offered by the Ministry of Housing and Water's Central Housing and Planning Authority, geared at improving their business practices. Phase 2 of the capacity-building workshop commenced on Wednesday and is being conducted at the National Library under the Adequate Housing and Urban Accessibility Program, AHUAP, Livelihood Restoration Plan. The 2-day workshop was implemented to develop and strengthen the skills of small business owners who were affected by infrastructural works conducted by the ministry under the AHUAP. Minister of Housing and Water Colin Crowell encouraged the participants to utilize the knowledge offered by the program to become entrepreneurs.
So the 7 of you, you are, at the end of tomorrow, you will be garnered with knowledge, additional knowledge, to put you on the right footpath of embarking on your business venture, making you entrepreneurs, helping you to come up with your own models of the type of businesses that you want to embark on. But as I said, it's not just about putting a shop and just having you sell and buy. We also want you to think outside of the box. We also want you to grow with that.
The Ministry of Labor has to date recovered some $13 million owed to employees for 2022 in wages, annual leave, overtime, and severance payments. Over 300 cases are currently at the litigation stage, most of which stemmed from the private security companies.
Many companies, they are refusing to give people a letter of termination. So they're attempting to walk sideways the law. So they're sending people home verbally because they don't want to give them their severance pay. That will not be allowed. People will have to be paid their money. And sometimes I intervene in these matters, and I say to people, you have two choices: either you pay or I call a press conference. You decide. And that has worked so far.
Minister Hamilton reiterated government's commitment to protecting the rights of workers and stated the ministry is considering public exposure of non-compliant companies. Further, the ministry's Occupational Safety and Health (OSH) department continues to make significant improvements. And Minister Hamilton is crediting investments in training, increased staff complement, and implementation of a recording and notification of occupational accidents and diseases system. For now, the ministry is working to develop 3 public relations strategies to promote further improved performance.
1, to deal specifically with our relationship with the oil and gas companies. 2, the other company is to train and develop the skill and the craft of the officers so that they're not media shy, so that they're able to articulate the law any place at any given moment.
Residents of Spiteland Region 10, Upper Demerara Berbice, are set to benefit from $8 million in emergency infrastructural works on the Karakar Creek. The announcement was made during an outreach in the region on Thursday as part of the government's intervention to provide relief to citizens in flood-affected areas. Minister of Public Works Bishop Juan Edgel reiterated government's mandate to ensure all citizens have equal opportunities and resources.
We have to look at bringing relief to people who live in these areas that are affected, and then at the same time we have to look at the engineering and other interventions that will eliminate or alleviate some of these circumstances that people don't have to continue to go through the suffering.
One of the key components of the emergency works is revetment of the Karakar Creek shoulders using geotextile materials and boulders to align the shoulders of the creek with the road. Residents of several villages in Region 7, Guyanese Mazaruni, will be further equipped to enhance their food security and economic empowerment. During a recent ministerial outreach, Minister of Agriculture Zulfikar Mustafa pledged the government's support.
I want to assure you that we'll help you. We can give 25 black giant chicken to every household in this community.
The presentation of the black giant chickens to each household in Carroll Creek, Region 7, in an effort to expand poultry rearing in the Lower Mazarun district to ensure a stable supply of protein to the community. The large dual-purpose chicken has the ability to produce up to 200 eggs annually and about 4.5 kilograms of meat. Additionally, the villages of Riversview, Falmouth, and Cartabo will each receive a milling machine to help with the processing of cassava flour. Riversview and Falmouth will each receive a shade house, putting them at a higher advantage to produce healthier crops.
We will donate a mill to the farm, to the village here. So you will have your cassava mill. But we have to decide what we plant in. And we will help you to go into large-scale production. I will make all the plants and seeds free of cost to you all, so that you will get the plants and seeds. Right? I will make the Akushians bit free of cost to y'all.
Meanwhile, technical officers from the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority will return to conduct assessments at the various communities to address their drainage concerns.
There are many battles that you can fight alone, but the government of Guyana is very happy to partner with our donors from the UK, Canada, and UNDP to have this collective battle against gender-based violence. Taking the pledge this morning re-emphasizes the call that I issued last year for the entire country to be galvanized in this momentum that we have generated by standing together and raising our voices against violence.
Minister Prasad was on Friday morning speaking at the launch of the Community Advocates Network I Can Poster Pledge campaign aimed to mount poster pledges on walls, among other visible areas, to increase awareness of gender-based violence in Guyana. She spoke about the many initiatives undertaken by the government to address gender-based violence. These include the establishment of the 914 hotline and free legal services to victims of gender-based violence. The minister reiterated the government's support for the elimination of all forms of violence. The initiative is a collaboration between the ministry and the Enabling Gender Response Disaster Recovery, Climate and Environmental Resilience in the Caribbean and Gender Project of the United Nations Development Programme, with support from the governments of Canada and the United Kingdom. Several major upgrades to various aspects of South Ruimveldt, Georgetown will soon commence. These announcements were made during a ministerial follow-up on Thursday with residents of the community at the South Ruimveldt Secondary School. The meeting is a result of a prior commitment made by President Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali to address issues highlighted during an impromptu visit to that community. As part of the major capital works earmarked for the community is the $80 million Aubrey Barker Road.
We have had to make some interventions and treat it as a main access road. Phase 1 of the work to be done on Aubrey Barker, which will be from Dynasty all the way to the roundabout, is already out for tender, and works on that would commence in just a matter of weeks.
In terms of drainage, an assessment was conducted in South Georgetown and plans are in the pipelines for a multi-million-dollar operation to prevent flooding in the area. Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa said there are a number of pumps and sluices working in the area. He explained that these drainage systems are operated and monitored by the City Council. However, they are sometimes neglected.
And sometimes when we have flood, not because only the drain is blocked and we are not having the regular flow of water out of the area, but sometimes or many times when our engineer visits these pumps and structures, sometimes it's inoperable. It's not operating as it ought to be.
The Agriculture Ministry has identified a number of drains and alleyways to be desilted manually. These works, Minister Mustafa noted, will commence shortly to ensure persons can get relief from the flooding in that area. Specialized healthcare access for all Guyanese is moving apace as the Ministry of Health forges ahead with more medical outreaches in the hinterland and riverine communities. Recently, a team from the Ministry of Health, headed by the ministry's Director General, Dr. Vishwa Mahadio, visited the communities of Mashabo and Bethany, Region 2. During the medical outreach, residents were offered services in the areas of eye and dental care, general and laboratory testing.
The whole idea is not only that we identify issues, but we deal with it. And where necessary, we provide all the necessary actions, including transportation, taking care of the patients, providing the medicines, providing the services, maybe bringing them back home, and following them up. So this is, like I said, this is a follow-up on what was implemented some time ago, and I must say kudos to Region 2 for ensuring that they have been providing these services, they have been following instructions that were given to them to take not only medical outreaches, but specialist medical outreaches to these areas.
During the outreach, dengue fever was detected in both communities, 6 cases in Mashabo and 1 in Bethany. Dr. Mahadio said all cases were reported immediately to the Health Ministry and the Region 2 administration for further monitoring and evaluation. The challenges seafarers experience will no longer be overlooked, as there will soon be an engagement with the Minister of Public Works, Bishop Juan Edgel, to discuss improved working conditions. Minister Edgel made a commitment on Friday at a ceremony to observe Day of the Seafarer, which was held under the theme Your Voyage, Then and Now, Share Your Journey.
We want to do more for you, so that you can do more for all of us. Because this industry, your work, is so important and so key that even if sufficient attention was not paid prior, recognition of the need for an engagement and working with seafarers has certainly taken front burner.
The minister highlighted that since taking office, government has taken a number of steps to reposition the sector in light of the oil and gas sector. Day of the Seafarer is designed to recognize the tangible contributions and selfless sacrifices made by seafarers towards the development of the maritime industry. Government has signed a US $106.4 million contract with Indian company Ashoka Buildcon Limited to begin the first phase of the highly anticipated Ogle to Eccles Road link. During the signing ceremony on Friday, Senior Minister within the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh, said the massive undertaking is being generously supported by a concessional line of credit through the India Exim Bank.
What we are witnessing today is the result of visionary leadership. I urge you to keep your eyes keenly focused on the agenda for transformation, because you will see roads and bridges, hospitals and schools, industrial estates. You will see not only public investment but private investment.
Despite the project being on the table for a number of years, the process became dormant during the change of government in 2015. After the PPPC government returned to office on August 2, 2020, a meeting was called to advance the venture. Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deodat Indar, said Guyanese should be proud to witness another positive economic explosion.
This project has been percolating for a while. Today, we will have a contract signing for the construction of 7.8 kilometers of 4-lane highway. Each one of these lanes will be 3.6 meter wide, and it will have a median as well in the middle. It will have sidewalks. There will be a number of structures along the way. There will be one of the connector roads into Eccles. As you know, the traffic in the country is becoming more and more. The volumes have become more and more. So we are addressing that from a long-term planning perspective. Just to let you know that this project, although it fits part of connecting the East Coast to the East Bank, so that you can, persons who don't want to go through the city, that needs to go to the airport, they can take an alternative route.
Meanwhile, Minister of Public Works Bishop Juan Edgel made it clear that persons with ulterior motives, whether they are fueled by political agenda or not, will not stop the government from fulfilling its mandate.
I am happy that today we are not just talking about plans, but we are actually witnessing the beginning of the execution of a major transformational project that it will be signed here today. We have moved Guyana forward.
The construction of a new road will not only see the administration further accomplishing its infrastructural agenda, but make way for major transformation in the agriculture, housing, and oil and gas sectors. Government intends to remove any encumbrances found on government reserves as well as roadways across the country as of June 27. This step follows weeks of the Public Works Ministry appealing to citizens to comply voluntarily.
We got to bring an end to the lawlessness while we develop Guyana. Do you agree?
The minister said vendors plying their trade along the Sheriff Mandela roadway continue to affect traffic. This, he noted, defeats the purpose of improving the flow of traffic within that area. Minister Edgel said the ministry will not disrupt construction works at business places or residences once a temporary construction permit is issued. That's it for this edition of Weekly Digest. For these and other government-related information, do log on to our website, dpi.gov.gy, and our social media platforms as well. Goodbye.